Hello, and welcome to Havoc Wargaming, dedicated to bringing you the uncommon. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ron, and today we're going to do a review of the Tombstone bundle of pre-painted MDF kits from Empires at War. So let's get started. I'm a big fan of Gunfighter's Ball by Knuckle Duster Games, and after having watched a video on Little Wars, where they did the campaign based on the warfare between the Earps and the Clantons, I have thought that I would like to play a small campaign based on the same thing, but using Gunfighter's Ball. That might be dangerous. Gunfighter's Ball is a pretty violent, dangerous game, a little more permanent in its danger and its damages than other games, perhaps. But I'd like to do that, so I've been looking at building terrain and putting it aside for that. Now, my understanding is Knuckle Duster Games has its own line of tombstone buildings coming down the line, and Knuckle Duster does some of the best Wild West buildings that are out there. But I don't know when those are going to come out. I'll probably get them when they come out. But I was offered a really good deal by Empires of War for this bundle. I've always been looking and admiring it. They clearly did their work in putting it all together, and so I decided to go ahead and give it a try. So let us go now to the building team. So we're going to start talking about our Empires of War Tombstone pack. We're going to start here on the far side of the street there, over towards 4th Street. We're going to follow along Fremont. So we're going to start here with the Papago Cash Store. That's the largest of the buildings actually involved on the block. It's this red one here on the end. Like all of these buildings, it is pre-painted MDF and gray board. Like all of these buildings, the roof comes off. The upper floor here also comes out, giving you an interior down below. The kit went together very easily, there's no windows along the side of it or anything. Little door in the back. Pretty simple building. The Papago Cash Store. Just behind it there, you may see that is the aisle, or the alley. That is an alley that was a side entrance to the OK Corral. At the shootout of the OK Corral, the shootout wasn't actually at the corral. The corral was on the far end of the block in that back area there with its main entrance off of 4th Street. But there is this alleyway that comes up along the side towards that colossal livery stable that was back there. And there was a sign here, and this comes with it. This is the only non-pre-painted part of the package. It's OK Corral. I think it'd be relatively easy to paint. I am missing a base for this, or maybe it was supposed to be fixed in some other way, but there was no base that came with it. If I have a problem with Empires of War, it is that it hasn't been unusual for it to be for pieces to be missing here and there. In fact, I'm missing one of the 2 chimney stacks for this building here, and it looked like I was missing some door frames too, if I understand the directions right. Nothing insurmountable, something I could easily fix myself and probably have around, and he'd probably send them to me if I asked, but when you're dealing with companies from England and kits, it just wasn't really worth it for that. Over here, the next building we come to is the Bauer Meat Market. Relatively small building. Let's get Johnny Ringo over here to give us some idea of its scale. That's a Knuckle Duster figure, so it's a 32 millimeter. So you'll see that it's maybe a little short for these guys, but definitely would work with 28s, and doesn't look wrong, I don't think, with the 32s. Again, pre-painted MDF and Graybird. This building has a little lean-to in the back. Again, the roof comes off. This particular one only has the floor done, but it looks like it's an adobe building or something. Maybe it was, I don't know. These buildings are all copies of the buildings that actually stood there as you see them in the photography. I didn't mention the fence in the back there. I was starting to. That fence, the kit's supposed to come with 3 of those. Again, I'm missing parts. I have 2 of the 3 fences. And those can be used in several different ways in various games, but there was, again, that fence-lined alley going back to the actual OK Corral. These wooden walks also come with it, quite a few of them, including some cut for corners. On some maps, you will notice that where I'm showing a gap here, there was an assay office on some of the maps. Those are maps that are drawn from the court case, and my understanding is that assay office was added after the shootout, but before the court trials. So there's no building that comes with this kit for that, and that is, as far as I can tell, historically accurate. Probably the most significant and recognizable of the buildings. Oh wait, what's going on here? Looks like the Clantons and the Earps are up to some sort of shenanigans here in that empty lot. But this other building, this is probably the most famous of the buildings that were at the area, in no small part because, well, because the actual fight was fought in an empty lot between this building and the neighboring building there. And this is, of course, Fly's Photography Gallery. Now, this is somewhat misnamed. The main portion of this building, the front part here, was actually a boarding house, and it seems to be where Doc Holliday, who's standing there on the front, actually was staying at the time of the fight. The photo gallery and studio is actually just that little building in the back. This was the most complicated of the buildings that came with the kit. Again, the roof comes off, but the roof has this complicated ribbing section, and I have no idea if I used it the way they were intending. You can see here that they were all like joined on one end. Every one of these pieces was joined on one end. And I don't know if that was supposed to be cut off or not. They didn't quite, like you can see here, I trimmed off the fronts. I'm going to go over that with gray paint, which I think will make it look fine when it's done, but it's pretty obvious they did that right now. And that the roof for the back there for the studio was particularly difficult. And you can see again all the little white parts where I had to cut it off. But I think, like I said, a little gray craft paint is going to take care of that. The roofs also come off. This one's got paneling lined inside, and I suspect the real building has separate rooms since it was a boarding house, but for my purposes I think it'll be fine, at least temporarily. And then the last of the houses that actually have to do with the famous event at OK Corral is going to be the Harwood House, this private residence on the corner there. Those are the buildings that come with the kit. Actually, it also comes with the Birdcage Theater. The Birdcage still survives in Tombstone today, but it's actually a block or so beyond, further west than the corner where all this is taking place on Fremont here. This here is the corner of Fremont and 3rd, and it was just inside in that lot where the OK Corral fight was starting. The Cowboys claimed that they were picking up their horses to leave town. And that's what brought them there. So all in all, these are the buildings that come in the Tombstone set. Though, as I say, there's a few more boardwalks, and there should have been another piece of fence and probably a base for my sign. Pretty good deal. I'm pleased with it. Glad to have it. I think the buildings look really sharp and look a lot like the images of the surviving the buildings that stood there at the time. I should probably mention, because I don't think I did earlier, almost all the photographs we have of historic Tombstone were actually taken by C.S. Fly, probably with dry plate photography as my guess. But he did a lot of landscapes of the area as well as some of the photographs of some of the buildings that were involved in the fight. That gives us the information that we need for, and that no doubt was used by Empire's war to reconstruct these wonderful buildings. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any experience with Empires of War or perhaps other buildings along these lines that you'd like to make comments about, please do that in the comment section down below. Also, if you have any ideas for further content you'd like to see us produce here on Cry Havoc Wargaming, we look in the comment section for that as well. If you've enjoyed the video, I hope you'll hit like. And if you'd like to continue to receive notifications for videos like this one that may help you determine how to better spend your money or time in your tabletop wargaming hobby, then I hope you'll hit subscribe and ring our notification bell. Till next time, cheers.